Welcome to the MMO Ronin channel. In this video, we're talking about the New World news post that they're talking about the in-game shop. If you're new to the channel, or if you've been here before, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the like on the video. It really helps the channel out as we are trying to grow here and become something. So let's jump into it. Introducing our in-game store. Is going to be on alpha, and they're talking about it now. It says, greetings adventurers, we are releasing our in-game store today for alpha players to test content and provide feedback in preparation for our August 31st launch. The store will allow in-game purchases for cosmetic items outside of our deluxe edition and pre-order bonuses. We have received a lot of feedback already and believe it's important to make the store visible now for players to experience and test directly. Items in the store during alpha will be purely cosmetic and provide no gameplay advantages. As the game evolves, we may add new categories of store items based on our players' desires. We may make mistakes, which is why we're testing and engaging with our community to solicit feedback. What they're saying is, you're going to hear something about some stuff in this store and you may not like it, but come on guys, give us a break. It's the alpha. The alpha store test will include an example scan, emote, and dyes. These are not the exact items we will sell when live, but give you an idea of the type and flavor. I don't want to taste the store. What? We think it's important to share the goals behind our in-game store design so our players can understand our intent to establish a foundation for open dialogue on this topic. And we got a little example of the store, I guess. Some items in it, maybe. Tree splitter skin, flex emote, scarlet dye, black dye, gold dye. Our plan. Our plan for having an in-game store is to create an outlet for players who find enough value in store items that they are happy to purchase them. Our plan is not, and never will be, to create a feeling that store items are necessary to enjoy or compete in the game. We have three main goals for the in-game store. Empower expressive personalization. The cosmetic items sold in New World are built to provide additional opportunities for players to shape their characters. Releases will showcase new dyes, apparel, and weapon skins for players to customize their character, as well as themed decorative furnishings and additional house pets players can purchase. Cosmetic items will not provide any perks or boosts to stats, while the in-game store will provide additional opportunities for customization and features unique cosmetic items. There is a wealth of visual diverse in-game loot for players to discover and earn across Eternum, at the same level of aesthetic quality with items found in the store. Our goal is not to make the cosmetics offered in store better, but different than existing gear. We understand players work hard to get their gear and have no intention of diminishing the value of their favorite pieces. Often the store items are additive for role players and players who like to change their appearance frequently. Below are some examples of gear found in game versus purchasable in our store. And then we have this image here. Let's check it out. So this crown hat thing is really ridiculous, to be honest. But I guess some of these look all right. Like this one on the end, the far right, look pretty cool. The one on the far left look pretty cool. The two in-game ones in the middle look pretty stupid. And the in-store one looks pretty weird. I guess it's kind of funky. It's not like too silly, but it's silly enough. I'm sure it's based off of some real helmet that looks like that, maybe. So I guess this isn't too bad what they look like. At launch, we'll offer themed cosmetics items across a variety of categories visually on par with our in-game gear, such as themed apparel and weapon skins, themed skins that can be applied to existing apparel or weapons to change their visual style, housing decor and house pets, decorative home furnishings and fun pets for your home, emotes, new ways for you to express yourself through dance, gestures, and other unique animations, dye packs. While many vibrant pigments are available to harvest to create dyes, additional colors will be available in the store. Probably like the metallic ones, those usually be the ones that they put in stores. Company crest new designs will be available in the store to personalize your company's insignia. We won't consider selling anything other than cosmetic items until 2022 at the earliest. So that's a good point right there. They put a fine date on that so people aren't worrying when they say at launch that it's going to be soon after launch. 2022 isn't that far off, you know, like it could be January 2022, I guess. The game comes out in August, but at least, you know, you have a date of when they're thinking about cosmetic items. I was thinking 2022 was a lot further off, like 2 years. If they said 2023, then I think that would have been a better date. 2023 at the earliest, we might put some more cosmetic stuff in there. Uh, Unless they have like an expansion coming out in 2022, which would be kind of soon, I guess, because we won't be able to keep up with that pace of an expansion every year. But if there was like some kind of expansion coming out in 2022 and they decided to put something other than cosmetic items in there, or the end of 2022, that would probably work a little bit better. But still, it's better than at launch. It gives somebody a goal, I guess, a thing in mind, and maybe people still hate it. I like the idea that they're saying is this going to be purely cosmetic, and I wish they talked about the ideas they had past the cosmetic items. But Sir Medieval put out a video, which I'll go watch that. I probably won't react to it here. I'll see what they said in that video, and I'll make my decisions based on that, I guess, on if they're speaking out of their neck or whatever. The in-game store content will not give players an advantage in PvE or PvP gameplay. Our goal is not to provide anything that players find to be pay to win for in-game store offers. No items in the store will give players instant lifts to their overall gear score, experience points, or impact territory control. So that's very specific. Pay to win doesn't give you an exact lift to your experience points. It's normally in the form of like an XP boost. But XP boost doesn't mean here's 3,000 experience points that you can buy. That's not how XP boosts work. XP boost means you gather more XP. Players should never feel they have to spend additional money to experience New World once they purchase the game, as the price you pay at launch lets you pay the entire released game. Embrace veterans and welcome new arrivals. While Eternum will be full of veteran players, we anticipate new players landing on its shores for years to come. Well, after launch, we consider ideas for items that influence mechanics like rested XP, both through the store and earned in-game. This would allow late to the game players entering Eternum to catch up at a pace more comfortable to them and fight alongside their friends in in-game content while not creating a pay-to-win environment. The more players that are able to experience the in-game content and participate in in-game modes, the healthier the game experience will be. The timing on when we release any sort of boost would depend on player sentiment, feedback, and how we see new players progressing through the game well after launch. If we decide to implement these types of items, they will also be obtained through in-game methods. But even if it's being offered through in-game methods, and if you can pay money to skip that, then that's still kind of like a pay to win in a sense. Because you're like, I'm not going to put the work in game, I'll just buy it. So I think for things like that, it definitely has to be like later down the line. I know you guys are they're trying to think ahead, like far in the future, but it's not something that they need to concern themselves with yet because the game hasn't even come out yet. So they're trying to plan for like what they consider in their head is the inevitable, but they're not like, how can I put this? So Final Fantasy 14 came out, you levels from 1 to 50, and then the expansion was 10 extra levels, and then there's another expansion which is another 10 extra levels. There's a lot of quests going on in between then. For the most part, up until the end of the second expansion, a lot of people just kind of like played the game that way, and then sometime along as the third expansion was coming out, then they introduced the boost, if I'm not mistaken. That's because there were a lot of quests to do, a lot of story missions to do, a whole bunch of stuff to get into that expansion. And that's what people were jumping ahead to, the expansion. They weren't jumping ahead just because people were behind. So I think a mentor system for veteran players to actually help older players or newer players. Older players help new players. Having a mentor system would be the thing to do for helping new arrivals be welcomed into the game, as opposed to saying, oh, you guys need to catch up to end game. What is the end game in this game anyway? There's not a lot there. So let people experience all of that until there's so much end game that it's something that needs to be done. And because we as players can't see that, that seems like an issue to talk about welcoming new arrivals with pay boost and stuff. Like, we are not at the point of an end game where it's just so much stuff and so overwhelming that we need help, and we can't wait for people to get through the questing line and get to their levels. Heading towards launch, we're excited to test the functionality of our store and receive feedback on the items sold within it from our alpha community. Data from the alpha test, as well as feedback from testers themselves, will be studied closely, and tuning will be done to the store and content as we prepare for launch. The launch of New World is just the start. We plan to consistently ship game updates with new content drops for years to come. We hope you'll join us on the shores of Aeternum with New World releases on August 31st. Thanks again for all your help and support, Scott. I mean, it's definitely still just a wait and see for a lot of people. I don't think that really helped anybody's mindset on, if the game was going to be worth getting, if they had a thought of getting it before, because it's still the idea. They still kind of danced around it a little bit. They didn't tell exactly what they were planning, what they had on their mind, but maybe they talk about it more, like I said, in the third medieval video, which I'll have a link to that in the description. And I'll have a link to this page in the description also if you guys want to read this. But I'm still going to play New World. I don't need to buy the store stuff to enjoy content in the game. And I'll still express my distaste for it if they put store stuff in the game and stuff like that. But I don't feel like gameplay-wise, like I've had an issue with it playing it. It's just that I don't like how they're alienating people that have been burned by other games or new people coming in, because the most loudest voices are always like the angry ones. And if everybody's gonna, even if they meme on it and just call it the game pay to win and joke about it being pay to win, there's gonna be people that don't know if it's pay to win or not, and they're gonna believe that it is pay to win because all of the videos and things are talking about it being pay to win, using terminology like this is a problem, this is the worst thing Amazon has done. And for some reason everybody believes that Amazon is like a dead company or something, or a dead game studio, because they've had some failed games, but they've only really had one failed game that people knew about. The other ones people had to dig up to find if they existed or not, and I feel like they were more just like test projects. But that's me going on a tangent about games that are MMOs. So let's talk about this MMO life. So hopefully the game is good, and they do right by the store if they're going to have it in there, and by the people that want to play it, instead of teasing them and then dropping something big on them. Hopefully they don't drop a roadmap for this game, like a serious one. They just kind of tell us, how patch cycle is going to work and stuff like that. Give us some info, some heads up. But I don't know, guys. Definitely keep your eye out on these channels. You can watch any of the YouTube channels that talk about MMOs and see where the game is going. Everybody's going to have their different opinion on things, so make sure you watch multiple channels to get a good idea of what might fit your taste better, or who's telling, the full story, or to get the full story. Maybe somebody's just focusing on one thing and another person's focusing on another thing, and just listening to different opinions and perspectives will paint a better picture than just listening to like one person talk about, the same stuff, beating the dead horse over and over again. So hopefully this is the last video we talk about the cash shop. I'm sure there's going to be one more when the cash shop actually comes out in the full game, and if they add anything extra new to that or not. And I would like to just build some lore videos and some guide videos from here on from New World, if they exist. And I hope the game does well. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.